Good morning, everyone. This is Father Nate, missionary priest in Italy, and thanks for joining us today, November 29th, on No Greater Delight, our podcast on Marian feasts and Marian meditations. Well, today we have a number of feasts, but we can start in Belgium with Our Lady of Beauraing. On this day in 1932, Our Lady appeared for the first time to 5 children between the ages of 9 and 15. In total, she would appear 33 times, with the last apparition taking place on January 3rd, 1933. As I said, it was today that 5 children, for the first time, had a vision of the Blessed Virgin Mary. She was all dressed in white, walking above them on a railway bridge. So they were walking to a nearby school, and as they reached the door of the school to knock, one of them, Albert, was going to knock on the door, the vision appeared. Her knees moving beneath her robes, but her feet seemingly obscured by the clouds. So, of course, the children were frightened and they all started pounding on the door as hard as they could. When Sister Valeria opened the door, she was confused by the frantic children, but dismissed their story as nonsense. In the event, over the next 5 weeks, the children reported 32 more visits from Our Lady. The final one occurred on January 3rd, as we said. The children described the woman as wearing a long white dress with a white veil. She had a golden crown of light, and her hands together in prayer in front of her chest. During her appearance on December 29th, she opened her arms to display a golden heart. Now, in 1935, they began an investigation in the regional diocese of Namur. 8 years later, in 1943, his successor, the successor of the bishop who began it, authorized public devotion to the title of Our Lady of Beauraing, and the apparition was recognized as authentic in 1949. So every year on this day, Mary is celebrated under the title of Our Lady of Beauraing, and she's also known as the Virgin with the Golden Heart, precisely because she had a golden heart. Likewise, it seems that Father Orsini tells us that it's the feast of Our Lady of the Crown in Palermo, Italy. There's not a whole lot of information on that. And then in the Valle del Monte Oropa in Biella, Italy, we have Our Lady, Queen of Mount Oropa. So what is the deal here? Well, according to tradition, Luke the Evangelist carved this little statue of Our Lady, and St. Eusebius brought it to Italy, right? He was the first bishop of Vercelli, when he was martyred in 371. So he's said to have spent some time in exile in the Holy Land because he was opposed to the emperor's views, and one day in Jerusalem, he had a divine inspiration that led him to find these 3 statues buried under ancient ruins. So when he was allowed to return to Italy, he left one at a hermitage, he left another in Sardinia, and the third he put in a cave that was a pre-Christian holy site, right, in the Madonna of Oropa, because he wanted it to end the local pagan worship, right? And so, the villagers took to it, and they would organize annual pilgrimages to Our Lady, which makes this one of the oldest mass pilgrimages that continues till today. Now, apparently Our Lady really liked the site, because in 1,000 years later, monks tried to move her to a new location, but then she refused to go, right? She let her take them half a mile, but then the 3-foot statue, which is not that big, right? She became so heavy that nobody could budge her until they decided just to take her back to the cave, and then they could lift her again. So in commemoration of this, there's a chapel of the transport erected on the spot where she refused to be moved any further. Again, there was a vision of Our Lady to a nun on July 26th, 1620, where Our Lady told the sister, that she would like to be crowned. And again, she had received, the townspeople had received so many graces that they were more than happy to do so. And in fact, they've actually given her a new crown every 100 years, right? And 4 times she's been crowned by a pope, in 1620, 1720, 1820, and 1920. So 3 crowns and a halo with diamond-studded stars, right? A very beautiful image. Now, there's a unique annual miracle that's been taking place for over 300 years now, right? And that is that her face never gathers dust. Every year in the middle of November, her face is wiped with a white handkerchief, and they never find a grain of dust on it. Every year, she proves again that she's neither dirty nor worm-eaten, but truly she's black and immaculate, right? So, among the Marian pilgrims who have gone to this site, there's many people who go to the pilgrimage, but one of them is Blessed Pier Giorgio Frassati, right? There's a letter he writes to one of his friends, Marco Beltramo, where he says, "On the 27th, I will go up to Europa, and I will pray for you at the feet of the Brown Madonna." And Luciana Frassati, his sister, writes that flowers were his fervent and most obvious homage to the Blessed Virgin. Whenever there was a celebration in her honor, Pier Giorgio would show up with a bunch of flowers. And indeed, after his death, several people shared testimonies of seeing Pier Giorgio walking to the shrine of Our Lady of Europa with flowers from the family garden. In particular, the priests were impressed by his visits when there was lots of winter snow. They would recall, "We were amazed," and would say, "Why are you here in this weather, Pier Giorgio?" And he would answer, "I've brought some flowers for Our Lady." And so now, in the side chapel of the old church of Europa, there's a portrait of Pier Giorgio with a rosary in his hand. For today's reading from True Devotion to Mary by St. Louis de Montfort, we continue with part 2 on the most excellent devotion to Our Blessed Lady, or the perfect consecration to Jesus through Mary. And we're now on the third section, the wonderful effects which this devotion produces in the soul, which is faithful to it. So this is an important section because St. Louis de Montfort is telling us about all the benefits, all the great things that come to us when we consecrate ourselves to Jesus through Mary. And now we're going to continue with point 215 and 216. So the third benefit that we obtain: this mother of fair love will take away from your heart all scruple and all disorder of servile fear. She will open and enlarge it to run in the way of her Son's commandments, with the holy freedom of the children of God. She will introduce into it pure love, of which she has the treasure, so that you shall no longer be guided by fear, as you were up to this point, in your dealings with the God of charity, but by pure love. You will look on him as your good Father, whom you will be incessantly trying to please, and with whom you will converse confidently, as a child with its tender father. If unfortunately you offend him, you will at once humble yourself before him. You will ask his pardon with great lowliness, but at the same time you will stretch out your hand to him with simplicity, and you will raise yourself up lovingly, without trouble or disquietude, and go on your way to him without discouragement. And 216, now we have the fourth thing. Our Blessed Lady will fill you with a great confidence in God and in herself. And then we have 4 subheadings here. So the first, because you will not be approaching to Jesus by yourself, but always by that good mother. Second, because as you have given her all your merits, graces, and satisfactions to dispose of at her will, she will communicate to you her virtues, and will clothe you in her merits, so that you will be able to say to God with confidence, "Behold Mary your handmaid, be it done unto me according to your word." Third, because as you have given yourself entirely to her, body and soul, she who is liberal with the liberal, generous with the generous, and even more generous even than the generous, will in return give herself to you in a marvelous but real manner, so that you may say to her with assurance, "I am yours, Holy Virgin, save me." Or, as I have said before with the beloved disciple, "I have taken you, Holy Mother, for all my goods." You may say also with Saint Bonaventure, "Ecce Domina salvatrix mei, fiducialiter agiam et non timeo, quia fortitudo mea et laus mea in Domino est tu." There it is. We have it. Yeah. "My dear mistress who saves me, I will have confidence and will not fear, since you are my strength and my praise in the Lord." And then we have another quote. "I am altogether yours, and all that I have belongs to you. O glorious Virgin, blessed above all created things, I will put you as a seal upon my heart, because your love is as strong as death." You may say to God in the sentiments of the prophet, "Lord, my heart and my eyes have no right to extol themselves, or to be proud, or to seek great and wonderful things. Yet even in this I am not humble, but I have lifted up and encouraged my soul by confidence. I am like a child, weaned from the pleasures of the earth, and resting on its mother's lap. And it is on that lap that all good things come to me." And there's a note here that says, see Psalm 130. And fourth, what will still further increase your confidence in her is that you will have less confidence in yourself. You have given her in trust all you have of good about you, that she may keep it and keep it. She may have it and keep it. And so all the trust you once had in yourself has become an increase of confidence in her, who is your treasure. Oh, what confidence and what consolation is this for a soul, who can say that the treasures of God, where he has been pleased to put all he had that was most precious, is his own treasure also. It is a saint who said that she was the treasure of the Lord.
Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed our Marian podcast. As St. John Paul II teaches us, from Mary we learn to love Christ, her Son, the Son of God. Through her intercession, may we grow ever closer to him. We encourage you to share this with a loved one or friend and help spread our devotion to Mary. Thank you, and God bless.